Wayfarer had ever seen. Unfortunately, the diminutive giant had met an untimely death at the hand of badass Luke, a demon from the subterranean realms. Jocko had lived in one of the Otherworld Intelligence Agency's designated apartments in the city, and I was pretty sure he'd never slept at the bar. We hadn't found any giant-sized clothes hanging around, at least not yet. But it was obvious that someone from Otherworld had stayed here at one time, because she'd left a bunch of her things here. I recognized the weave on a couple of tunics. They certainly hadn't been made over here Earthside. Iris snorted. "Mess is certainly the word, isn't it? Now, if you'll get your albino butt over here, I could use some help moving this trunk." Hands on her hips, she nodded to the wooden chest she'd uncovered from beneath a pile of newspapers. Shaken out of my reverie, I lifted the trunk with one hand and effortlessly carried it to the center of the room. Being a vampire had its perks, and extraordinary strength was one of them. I wasn't all that much taller than Iris. Skimming 5'1", I towered over her by a mere 13 inches, but I could have easily lifted a creature 5 times her weight. "Where on earth are your sisters? I thought they were going to help." The Talon Haltesia, Finnish house sprite, brushed a stray cobweb off her forehead, leaving a smudge from the grime that had embedded itself in her hands. Her ankle-length golden hair had been pulled into a long ponytail, and she'd carefully woven it into a thick chignon to get it out of the way. Iris was wearing a pair of denim shorts and a red and white gingham sleeveless blouse, with the ends tied together under her breasts. A pair of blue keds completed her country-made ensemble. I grinned. "They are helping in their own special ways. Camille's at the store buying more cleaning supplies and dinner. Delilah is out scrounging up a pickup so we can haul away some of this junk." I'd left running the bar to Cassandra for the evening. She knew where I was, and she was my best waitress. Luke was bartending, and he'd take care of any jerks that stumbled in. Tava, as usual, was guarding the portal in the basement. "Special my foot," Iris mumbled, but she flashed me a brilliantly white smile. She had good teeth, that was for sure. "Let's see what this old chest holds. Probably dead mice with our luck." "If it does, don't tell Delilah. She'd want to play with them." I knelt beside her, examining the lock. "Looks like we need a skeleton key if you don't want me to bust it open." "Forget about keys," Iris said. She leaned over and deftly inserted a bobby pin into the oversized hole, then whispered a soft chant. Within seconds, the latch clicked. I gave her a long look, and she shrugged. "What? Simple locks I can pop. Deadbolts, not so much. Life is easier when you don't have to worry about locks and bars." "I would have to agree," I said, opening the lid. As it softly creaked, the faint odor of cedar rose to fill the air. Even though I didn't need to breathe, that didn't mean I couldn't smell, at least when I chose to, and I allowed the aroma to filter through my senses. Mingled with the fragrance of tobacco and frankincense, the scent was dusty, like an old library thick with leather and heavy oak furniture. It reminded me of our parlor back home in Otherworld. Iris peeked over the edge. "Pay dirt." I glanced into the trunk's belly. No dead mice. No gems or jewels either, but there were clothes and several books and what looked like a music box. I slowly lifted the box out of the soft cushion of dresses in which it had been nestled. The wood was definitely harvested from Otherworld. "Arnica," I said, peering closely at it. "This comes from OW." "I figured as much," Iris said, leaning over to examine the box. Wood from an arnica tree was dark, hard, and rich, with a natural luster that shimmered when polished. Easy to spot by its rich burgundy tones, the color rested somewhere between mahogany and cherry. The box was fastened by a silver hinge, and I flipped it open, gently raising the lid.